Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and you're very welcome to our Thursday night of Lockdown Conversations, and we're on Series 2, Episode 2. I'd like to say hello to you all out there tonight, anyone that's watching us. I hope you're all safe and all well, and anyone that's self-isolating or have positive case that you're keeping really well, and we are thinking of you all. The usual crack, folks. Give us another message in the comments there of where you're from, what festival you're from, what group you're from, what end of the country you're from. If you're not involved with a group, just stick in there and say hello to us, and we will give you no like for your comment later on. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight it gives me great pleasure to welcome two-time winner of the Clare Galway Cup, all the way from Ballycogley players in County Wexford, the director, Breda Hayes. Breda, how are you?
How are you, Paddy? And hello, everybody. Sorry, my phone is going mad here. I'm going to get rid of it for a minute. A happy new year to you all. And as you say, hopefully we'll all come out the other side of all of this madness shortly.
Yeah, Breda, thanks very much for joining us on Lockdown Conversations. When I was picking through the guests, I noticed that twice winner of the Clare Galway trophy is no easy feat. So I said, there's a woman I need to get on to have a chat with. And I know an awful lot of the confined groups out there throughout the country would be tuning in tonight to see what is the secret of how to land the boat in your port. So first of all, Breda, I suppose what we'll start with tonight is we'll start the way I start with everybody on Lockdown Conversations. How did amateur drama find Breda Hayes, or how did Breda Hayes find amateur drama?
Well, it was only when you were kind of thinking back, like after watching the other Lockdown Conversations, and I was kind of thinking, where did I start? So I actually, my first recollection really of what I would have done was in 6th class in primary school. Our schoolmaster, Michael Dowling as was at the time, started putting on a concert every year. And we were the first year that he did this particular concert. And we did a scene about kind of American history or whatever, and I recited the Battle Hymn of the American Republic, and we have semaphore and flags and that, and we marched around or whatever. So like that's not today nor yesterday. So that was my kind of first. And then I went on and I went to Loretto and Gorey, and we put on, there was a few different shows went on there. So I went into one of those, and then my next. I actually remember going way back. I know you had Michael Johnson on there a few weeks ago, but I remember my mother bringing me over to Kilmuckridge to see a play during the festival, and it was Jane Eyre. It's hard to believe, like, and I was only a child at the time, and but my next kind of brush with drama would be I got married. Nick and I got married in 1981, and shortly after that. I saw a poster advertising a group called Ballycogley Players. They were putting on Sive in the Ballycogley Hall in advance of going to the finals, and that would have been their first full-length finals at the time. So wow. that's yeah.
So there's a big history of drama in Ballycogley then, obviously.
Oh, well, there's a huge, and it actually stretches way back well before Ballycogley. Ballycogley Players were actually formed in kind of 1975, 76, so kind of our 50th anniversary is coming up in the next couple of years. But even before that Ballycogley was formed from two groups. There would have been a drama group in Kilmore and another drama group in Maidlass, and there was another one actually down around Killinick, and there's actually a history of drama and musicals and theatre and everything going in the whole area, going back to probably the end of the 1800s, 1890s.
Wow.
All up along to the 1920s, 40s, 50s. And what had happened was the groups then used to go into these Winton Theatre festivals and that. Mm-hmm. And then I think what happened was numbers kind of started dropping off. And so I think over one or two oranges or pints or whatever you'd like to call it, in about 1975, Fintan Murphy was involved with the Maidlass drama group, or Maidlass players or drama society and whatever at the time. And Con Doyle and Mary were who were running the pub at the time. They were involved in the Kilmore drama group, and they kind of started talking, and they said maybe we should maybe look at joining forces, because they were getting to the stage that they couldn't put on plays because they didn't have enough people. So they put out a call. Apparently, they put out a call, and then other people that were in other groups that were kind of had fallen by the wayside, they came along to this meeting, and the Ballycogley players was formed, and they say the rest is history. Yeah.
Great stuff. So then, when you became involved in the Ballycogley players in the early '80s, was it?
Yeah. Then again, I saw there was an advertisement in the local paper, and they were putting on a drama workshop, and I think it was around 1985. Like our two kids, like Laura and Kieran, Kieran was only a baby at the time. Laura was only about 3, and so I said, sure, look, I'll go up and see what's happening. So up I went. It was Harry Ringwood was given the course. Fintan had organised it, and the hall was actually full. I couldn't believe it. There was so many people up at the. It just showed like there was still an appetite for it around the area. And I ran for a couple of nights or whatever, and then Fintan was doing. He had picked a play called The Caucasian Chalk Circle. That was my first play with Ballycogley. And it was kind of it was all kind of multi-scenes and huge big cast. He was trying to use up a lot of the people and give them experience, the ones that had actually done this workshop. So that's kind of was the first thing I was in. And then, it kind of went on from there, really. And Nick then joined. He would have joined a couple of years later, because obviously, like with 2 small kids, what happened for the first number of years was I might go out one year, and he was involved in the backstage, and then he started the lights. And at that stage, the lights where you turn them on and you turn them off.
Yeah.
There was no specials. There was nothing like you have now. But so we kind of used to do it turnabout, and then eventually he kind of got into the lighting end of it, because I was able to go out and rehearse, and he only came in then. So we only had to get babysitters in, say, when coming up to kind of
festival
dress
time.
rehearsals and stuff, so that's how it kind of has come about, and has worked like that kind of many years since, like.
And then when did you step into the water that is directing?
Well,
or were you pushed in?
Well, I tell you, it was a bit of both, because like I had been in a number of full-length plays, and also in a number of one-acts. And then we used to, at that stage, we used to do a full-length play in the winter, and then in the summer we used to do a couple of one-acts, and they were put on in, say, down in the local hotel, and also in the old county hotel in Wexford Town, and a few other venues around the place. So I had to I think I might have directed 1 or 2 one-acts. And so anyway, we were at the usual AGM, came around September, October, and next thing, Fintan landed a bombshell that he wasn't directing the full-length play anymore, because at that stage he was I think he had signed up to do a degree course, and an open university course, and also there was a thought that he may be actually, with his job, that he might be moving away. So basically, here there was an actual stunned silence at the AGM, where we kind of said, well, what are we going to do? And I at that stage, I was kind of still I was only one of the younger members of the group at the time, because there's still some members there from the day one, and I was kind of, well, what are we going to do? And then in the end, I said, sure, look, I'll have a go, and that's it. So, and that was it. So I was doing, I was with the group. I was with Ballycogley, and at the same time, then around in the mid 80s, then they were doing the local school now, where the kids were going. They were fundraising for the school, so that they came up with this ingenious idea of putting on a Tops of the Parish. So I was involved with that as well. I was doing the choreography, and I used to do the sketches, and I loved it. It was brilliant. And that group it's now called Kilmore Variety Group, and it's still going today. and have done musicals and have done fantastic shows and that. But I was kind of doing both for a while, and then the drama it was just because the tops and the drama were both on kind of March, April, and I said something had to give. So unfortunately the tops went. Now I used to go back every now and again and do a few sketches and stuff, but it was the drama then became #1. So and it kind of still is up to date.
Yeah, and so then when you started directing then the full length plays, and did you get straight into the circuit then straight away?
Yeah, first one. When I think of it now, the first play I did on the circuit was Cat on the Fiddle. Like, it was a huge technical play. It was a farce. You had, now having said that, we had great crack and with great memories of doing it, but the things that kind of went wrong, we had there was one night we were on a festival in Kilmuck, in New Ross, and they had a rake stage at the time, and the door, they had lads had put a little piece of metal to kind of keep the door from opening, and someone going out hit the door, shut the door too hard, and the metal got stuck. So here they were, nobody could get the door open or close. So you had lads on stage ad-libbing, while the lads outside had a crowbar trying to open the stage, trying to open the door so somebody could do their entrance. And there was another night that there was an explosion or whatever, and at that stage they had whatever, something went off in the bucket, and there was mayhem. But anyway, when I think back on it now, I said I must have been out of my tree. But anyway, we had great crack. And then after that, I did that then, I said I'd go something easier. After that, it was kind of Two of a Kind, and then I think I did Juno. And after that, then those were kind of years we were kind of building the group again, because some of the original people had kind of left, and there was other new people had kind of come in, and so we were kind of developing kind of at that stage. So then the next thing, then we did translations, and we qualified for the finals down in Shimsatir in Tralee. And it was fantastic. We only got 2 festivals. We got Kilmuckridge and Wexford Drama Festivals, and we won both of them, and got through to the finals, and got 3rd in the All Ireland.
Wow, that was 95 or 6, was it?
That was 96. Yeah. So it was brilliant, and after that, then we qualified, I think, for the finals. I think 7 out of the next 10 years.
Wow. And
we did a huge variety of plays, like there was Irish plays, American play, like we did Our Town. We did, I was trying to think of we did an Australian one. I can't think of the name of it now.
I remember actually seeing Our Town in Shercock. It was great.
Yeah, that was our first time going to Shercock, actually.
Yeah.
First time we went to Shercock, yeah. But it was huge. It was a big cast. Kieran, now our youngest, our son now, he was actually in that. There was 2 children, Conor Mary Doyle's daughter Alice, and Kieran. They were the 2 children in it. But it was great. Like, but and then we are probably the most successful one, one of the most successful ones we did. There was remember Foot and Mouth in 2001. We were in rehearsal with Same Old Moon at the time, by Geraldine Aaron. And so we said we'll keep it and we'll put it on next year. Now it probably was the best thing, because had we gone out the year before, because it was there was so many scenes and stuff in it, it just wouldn't have worked. We wouldn't have been right with it. So we got a great run then with it the following year, and we were so lucky. There was a guy called Michael Rodden, who was Canadian, had come to live in the area, and he kind of had a background in drama a bit, particularly kind of design and stuff. So like he designed our set for translations. He would have done all our kind of sets up to that. We were doing kind of box sets. Everything was a box set. So here we were. We had cutaway walls. We had, it
was a new venture at the time.
It was new for us. Like, because even I remember when Michael said, "We're going to cut this away, and and we were out then with chisels trying to get, the wall effect, but on the actual, on the set. But that set, like, was, I think it was the master had a chair and there was a table, and the rest of them were sitting on it. They were just sitting on a stool, or else they were on the floor, like compared to what we would traditionally been
Yeah,
using.
well, we
Both
normally
sets
had
was
the
like,
abstract was
yeah,
completely different.
yeah, but it was lovely. And actually, yeah, we did Dolly West Kitchen, and we did that now in the finals in Gorey, and it was he did some fabulous sets, but his best one definitely was Same Old Moon, and it was, you know, that there's kind of 21 scenes, 22 scenes,
Yeah, 22.
and the set was a bed
Yeah,
with an angle on it and a wardrobe, and the two sides kind of complemented one another. And the bed, Con Doyle, he played the father, and he was kind of in the bed, and there was a gauze around him, and he had the end of the bed, when the lights were kind of on it, it became coming away from a ship. The wardrobe, it became it was a dance hall, it was a bar, it was a disco, it was a cafe. Every time it opened, it became something
different.
else. And Paddy Maguire and Terence, they were our stage guys, and every time we went in, they actually put other stuff. So the only dressing on the scene was what was on the backs of these doors.
Wow, yeah.
But it was inspirational now.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got second up in Tubbercurry with that. And that was, and you know what beat us that year was the first time. Now it's been the Beauty Queen with Ennis players, and that was the first. I think they were the first group. That
I think they were the first.
Did that play? When you think how many times it's been done since, like.
So you were really knocking on the door. You were actually nearly breaking the door down when in 2006 you decided to do the weir. I remember seeing the weir back then, and you had a fantastic cast, and I suppose that's the key that I think we got from directors that we talked to over the weeks of the last series and this series about how well a player's cast. And I remember Con Doyle and Chris Maddock and Paddy Maguire, Catherine Murphy, and Aidan
Miskela, yeah. Oh, it was absolutely. You kind of often what would happen is you'd have the acting would be right, or the cast to be right, or your set would be right, and without everything was right kind of that year, because it was kind of set in a bar, and the bar was actually designed on the basis. There's a local pub here called Sammy's down in Duncormac, and it's a real old country pub, and it was the lads would go in the door, throw the coat in the corner, you had the bar, you had the fire. And actually that was kind of the inspiration for our set. Yeah. And then Terence took great pride in this set, and every single night something extra went on it. Yeah. But I had the perfect cast as well. They were all the right age, but you know what they needed to be, and it's beautiful play. And I've seen several versions of it since now, and I know I'm probably a bit biased, but I still feel our Con Doyle's Jack's speech, sitting around a fire at the very end, when he was talking about.
Con was fantastic.
And they, talking about someone doing and making a sandwich for him after, it's still,
And that year, 2006, then circuit, you went very well in the qualifying, obviously, did you?
Well, like
sometimes you get in with the skin of your teeth, and then sometimes it goes really well for you. 2006 went really well for you, didn't it?
Well, we would, it's normal. We're slow starters. We always are slow starters, because when we rehearse, we don't have a stage or anything. We're rehearsing on the floor. We wouldn't really, our first festival going back along traditionally was nearly our full tech rehearsal, because we didn't have lights. And we were kind of so it always took us a couple of festivals to get going. So we were up in Rush, and I think we might have got second or third up there, and then we were in Kilmuckridge and we got second there. But at the time, the adjudicator there said to me, he said, because the lads were still taking down the set and I was down chatting to him, and he said, he says, if the weir is a lot of monologues in it, and he said, if you look at your monologues, and he said, just look at your monologues and kind of tighten them up a bit. He said that play will go far. And I mean, that was kind of, I think that was that. I think we might have won the next 5 out of 6 festivals.
Wow.
out of that, and it was I mean it was fantastic. And
the All Ireland that year then was in Claregalway, wasn't
I
it?
was in Claregalway, and I remember Nick and I going up for the draw, and like they brought us down to show us the big barn of a community centre. And I had taken all these photographs, and we were kind of saying, Jeannie Mac, I said, sure, the voices, how are they going to carry here and whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And we went back then for the festival,
Wow.
and it was like being in the dome in Tralee with
Yeah.
it was just magic. It was magic.
Yeah, they do an amazing transformation on it, you know.
They're fantastic, yeah. And they're still we would have gone up there a good few times kind of since then, but it was just. And that night, like, it was actually 30 years probably it was exactly 30 years from the time Ballycoggy started. And we were lucky that we were drawn on the second last night. And like, we did have a good thing, we had a good show kind of on the night, but you just, you never know. You never know. Like, we've all been there, and you do well, and it's one man's opinion is at the end of the day. And Bunclody were on the night after us. And I think Bridge might have been up there. I think there might have been 3 Wexford groups up there that year. And so then the following night, then results night, and like Finton and Veer and Con. Well, Con was in it. A lot of the older, the original members of the group, they were kind of all up there. There was tears and everything shed that night. It was brilliant.
Yeah. A big breakthrough for group. So you went open then 2007 for 2 or 3 years then, didn't you?
Yeah. The first one we would have done was from the East Green Heights, Dermot Bulger. Yeah, and beautiful. The writing of the play and everything was beautiful, but kind of didn't get anywhere with it. I think kind of felt that it, I don't know, it just didn't work for us, that adjudicators, because it's kind of like almost like a docudrama. Yeah. So I suppose it's kind of in one way hard to market in one way now. And then we did, what else did we do? We did Living Quarters and Eclipsed. That was the last kind of play I did, because I'll tell you, my mum wasn't well at the time, and I was working full time, and then drama was just so much, so I said something had to give. So I said, look, I'm taking a step back. So I was another one of these bombshell. Well, I had been warning the group. I said, look, a day is going to come that I can't commit, because they knew my situation. And so the day had come. So Tony Knott stepped up. Tony, he used to go down. I think he used to be in Brussels. He used to work in Brussels, and there was a drama group and that out there, but he had never done circus or never done really full length or anything. So decided, look, there's no point staying up in the open section. So he took on, they did, I think, Give Me Your Answer Do. And then Finton took over the reins again for the next couple of years. And
it's a decision I admire in groups, to bite the bullet and go back to the confined. I think it's a very noble thing to do. I suppose to Kilmuckridge done, we talked about a couple of years ago, and went back to the confined and then qualified again for the confined. I think maybe more groups need to have a look at doing that. You know, I know people love to get up to the open, but sometimes you need to punch at the level of your weight. And I think it was a great decision, a very noble decision for you to make. You know, but it didn't, when you come back then to the directing, Finton directed for a few years until you came back, and you kept the fire going, and you kept getting, getting to festivals and getting there every year in, year out.
Yeah, well, I came back in what year did I come back in? I was out the first year I came back, actually, because I actually took early retirement from my job because my mum was she was long-term sick. So, but anyway, Finton directed. He had actually adapted the Shakespeare, The Comedy of Errors, and so I went into that 2 small little parts. Well, we got nowhere with it, but by God, we had some crack. But and have that now, we actually would have got in like because it was a large cast play again, and we were still kind of trying to develop up. So kind of Sean Carty had came in. I think that might have been Sean's first one, and then there was Anne Marie was kind of finishing up. I think that might have been her. No, she was kind of still there. It's just so we kind of did that, and then the following year, then I did the Hen Night Epiphany. That was my kind of first one back, and I kind of was disappointed because I had a very, very strong cast, but for some reason it just kind of didn't. Now it just didn't kind of do anything with it. So that was all female cast. So then we kind of said, well, look at lads, we're just going to go out now and try and build a group again, because our problem was our teenagers were in their 30s. So we were being very restricted on what plays we could do. Yeah. So we did There Goes the Bride, and luckily that was one now where we literally were on the skin of our teeth and got in at the very end. We qualified for the All Ireland, which was in Kilmuckridge. And it was brilliant. That was some festival up there. Yeah. And the festival club every night. Well, I had a patrons ticket, so I was up there every night anyway. So it was brilliant. And we knew we weren't going to do anything in the finals, but it was brilliant. Now Kilrush won that night year.
And in true Bunclody form, you had plenty of crack.
Oh, but geez, we did.
I
tell you, we actually, now I don't think Bobby believed us. Bobby, when we kind of said we had a bit of a reputation. I said, when we go to these All Ireland finals, we don't usually go home until dawn, and the birds will be singing. And he says, oh yeah. And so anyway, when we were coming out of the place, the dawn was coming in, and he says, he says, yes, we're right. But we didn't win the All Ireland, but we did win the Festival Club competition that year, which is very important.
Very important. It's all the Festival Club is a very important part of the circuit too.
I honestly think the Festival Club is actually an intrinsic part of a festival, because the groups have worked so hard all year, and it's like there's only going to be one winner, but everybody that gets to a final, as far as I'm concerned, is a winner, because you're up there, and a lot of the time as there's only one adjudicator, and it's whatever takes its fancy will win a festival or win an All Ireland. Now I know probably there's the standard, but the standard in confined, in my mind, has risen so much. There's not near as much of a gap between it and the open as there was going back years ago. But definitely the top confined groups could hold their heads up, I'd say, with a lot of the open groups. But it is, and any finals we've gone to, you do need to let your hair down and let off a bit of steam, because it used to be a case you go into a festival, any festival you go, when you go have a drink or whatever, but drink driving and that, nobody can do that anymore. So when you get to a finals, most people are staying over for the night, so that's when you have your crack.
So the Night Alive was a brave choice of play for you.
It was, I had broken my arm the year that we did Lay Down Softly. It was Billy Roach play, which we all loved, but I just kind of feel we kind of left it behind us, because I had a really nasty break. Now, how I broke my arm now is still a debate, because I was rehearsing a scene with Sean Carty and Chris Maddock and Paddy Maguire. It was a fight scene in the play, and I was kind of up, like, well, you go here, and I just stood back to have a look at it, and I fell over feet. Now there's a debate now whether it's Chris's feet or Sean's feet. Both of them are sizable. So, but anyway, but I just feel I was in an awful lot of pain I was just at the worst time, was in January, February. So I just felt I just kind of wasn't fully on board with that one, because I was in a lot of pain in that at the time. But so but Fintan and I went up to it was actually up in Tubbercurry again, and the Night Alive was on in the finals up there, because I wanted to see it, because it was a play I was interested in anyway. And I went up, and I the night when I actually saw it, I kind of came away out of it, and it just blew me away. And I kind of said, geez, this is a play we kind of have to do. And so they won. Sure, they cleaned the boards. I think they did really, really well with. So that's about the play, and we read it, and sure, they all fell in love with it. So I cast it. Now I actually did. I had most of the cast that were like, they were all seasoned campaigners at this stage. Like, you had kind of Chris was there a long time, Con was there.
I was just going to ask you, is there secret to winning All Ireland's Chris Maddock and Con Doyle?
There's a bit. Well, there's a longer tail on it than that. Catherine, who was in and Paddy, both of those were backstage in it. In the play as well. Now, and Colin Doyle came in. He had done a couple of one acts with us, and there was just something about him. He played the tug in the play, and I just kind of saw something in him rather than some of our other kind of people that we kind of had. And but like, I just kind of had the cast, but like, I know I took a chance kind of on doing it, because I know Mary, they had Doonbeg, they had kind of done the West Coast, if you like, but the play hadn't been seen on the East Coast, and I thought it was too good of a play not to do.
Not to have a go,
So I said, look, hopefully we'll get a few festivals, and if we did qualify, say we'll kind of get that. That's where it goes, like. But now Tom Byrne, he adjudicated the finals in Carnew that year, and he actually kind of did say to me at one stage, he said, you know, you took an awful risk on doing this play. But like, I kind of I did, but sure, look at, like, if you don't take a chance,
obviously, honestly, God,
but it was,
and it hit the ceiling in Carnew. Everything went right on the night, and you know,
and you know,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was just, I kind of like this. That was the year, like you were saying about kind of results and stuff like that. Remember, that was the year of the Beast from the East, when the results were all over the place. Like, we had our original schedule. We kind of had 2 plays a week for whatever. So our Kildare festival was changed. We were supposed to open Ballinamore. I'll tell you a good one about Ballinamore. We were snowed in here, about 10 foot of snow down here in Wexford. We got really bad, and the phones and everything was gone. Now, Kildare had been on, and they said, look, our festival is gone. I said, well, we're not going anywhere. And our phone lines, everything was out, and I got a neighbour's phone, and I rang Cam, and because we were due to open their festival on the Saturday night. There was a Thursday, I think, the snow hit. And I rang Cam, and I says, Cam, I suppose you know why I'm ringing you. And he says, no, why? I said, Cam, we're snowed in down here. He says, geez, we've no snow up here. So we went up there afterwards. They were able to run the rest of the festival, and we went up then. The festival finished on the Sunday night, and we went on the Tuesday night. And we had got third in Rush, and we'd had no other. We'd had a technical problems the night we were up in the sleigh, so we got fourth up there. And then the night in the middle of our adjudication, Trisha's phone started beeping, and we had got the results. We had won Wexford Festival.
Great.
And then the following day, we got word that we had won Kildare Festival, because there we had to do. What we did was we did Kildare on the Monday night. We went to Ballinamore on the Tuesday night. We had to come back and do New Ross on the Thursday night. And then, we had done Wexford on the previous Friday. So we were wrecked.
Right,
but the Kildare Festival came in on the Wednesday. And then the New Ross result and where is the New Ross? And some other result came in then on the next night. And then we were up in kind of Portadown after. So like the whole results came in the week.
Yeah.
But it was like same for everybody.
Yeah,
And
it was the same. It was the same.
the league
across the board.
table went out the window that year.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It did.
because usually you get an idea who's doing well or who isn't. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then, so you qualified for Carnew. Everything went amazing for you on the
Yeah.
night, and you brought home the cup for the second time, which is
Yeah.
just a fantastic achievement for the group, but for your personal achievement for yourself. You're a big fan of Conor McPherson, obviously.
Oh yeah, I think he's a great writer, and he
Mhm.
has. I've seen a number of his plays as well, but he just is he's a fabulous writer. Now the only quibble I'll have with him is he doesn't write enough play parts for women. But
Yeah.
sure, I suppose a lot of people, you write what you know.
Yeah.
He knows the male psyche, but he writes brilliant parts. They're all. He'd never write a weak part for any, every part. The smallest part has meat on it, like.
Yeah, everything is meat on.
Yeah.
So you took to the road then in 2020 in the open section.
Yeah, you see in 2019 we didn't actually go out at all. Well, most people know at this stage Nick had a kind of horrific accident, so
yeah,
we just kind of took time out. Well, I wouldn't have been in the right headspace anyway, and because we were still physio and in hospital and everything. So, but what we did do was that use the year to maybe we had kind of run a community theatre workshop, because like that our age profile was getting high again. So the previous winter we had run a workshop, so we said, look at Kathleen Thierry and myself then said, well, look at, we got some funding and we ran a workshop over the summer, and so we kind of did that. And then I said, right, we'll do Same Old Moon, and we'll kind of because we got a few new people that were interested, a few teenagers.
Great, yeah.
So what I did was I put two casts in. So you know the way it's a story, Brenda Barnes, her life story. Yeah. So basically I had a young Brenda and an old Brenda, and I had, all the aunties.
You had a cast of about 60 then. So
I actually had 26, a cast of 26.
Wow.
Yeah. But we put that on in April of the following year.
Yeah.
But that was the nucleus, because they play. We went out again there this year, like in 2020, and I did Dreamland, so I needed two teenagers, and I got her out of our community. Like Justine had done the 2 workshops.
Great.
And she was in Same Old. She was my young Brenda in Same Old Moon. She has a lovely acting style. And Will Troy had done the first workshop, and he was in transition year in school. And we were actually at the side of the stage during the Leo Party weekend. The lads were doing sketches, and we got talking, and Will says, what are you doing this year? And I said, well, we're kind of looking at plays at the moment. He says, well, look, he says, I'm in transition year, So I said that was it. He's a great. He's known more as a singer, but God, he has definitely great acting talent as well. So
yeah. So then the inevitable happened. Unfortunately, we got out on the road, and COVID put an end to all that.
It sure did, yeah, and I did for everyone. I think the group was going 45 years. Ballacogly players, and this is the first year in 45 years that Ballacogly has not done a play.
Wow.
And like we would have been doing, we did our festival plays nearly every year, but in addition to that, like for the last, I'd say 20-25 years, we were doing one acts during the 2-3 one acts during the opera festival every year. And it's the main source of income, like for most of the drama groups in kind of Wexford, if you're down, because it's a huge fringe festival as part of the, in conjunction with the opera festival. And we all put on kind of one acts or full lengths or whatever. And like there was kind of nothing, but sure, look, I felt sorry for Bridge now, because I'm on the committee with the Wexford Drama Festival. And like Ballacogly we were the last play to be on in the Opera House during the festival. We were wondering, will we get to the end of the festival? Will we get to the end of it? And like we were on the Wednesday night, and the word came through on Saturday, on Thursday morning, and
yeah.
we went in the afternoon, and Bridge had spent the day. Their set was up, and it was so. I said, my heart went out to them because they were there and had to take the set down, and I was just. But sure, they were only one of many groups.
Honest to God, yeah, and many festivals that had to cancel. But I think amateur drama will bounce back from this big time. You know what I mean? Because I think, as you see from our audience on the conversations here, people are pumping to get going again, and hopefully when it's safe to do so, we will. And I think the amateur circle will be a lot stronger and better maybe for having this year out. You know.
Do you know? I think, Paddy, you're right there, because I don't think any of us realised how much drama means to us and the important part it's fills in our lives until this year.
Yeah.
Because for the first couple of weeks, I think we were all kind of in withdrawal symptoms, and then we were kind of like, what are we going to do now? And like then in the summer, you know, there was a few bits and pieces kind of happened, and you know, there was kind of hope that maybe there'll be a bit of live theatre again. Like a couple of us went up to like Coolgraney now, did their theatre in the garden, and I went up. It was like, it was fabulous.
Yeah.
And we went up to actually see their play, and I know they had plans to do another one, but sure, look, things are so uncertain at the moment, but I think it has really made us realise how important it is for all of us.
Absolutely,
and even the connections and even meeting up with everybody, and you know,
and catching up with people like as Seamus O'Rourke said on the very first one. You know, there's people you don't see for 12 months, but you shake hands and you strike off from where you left off. Which connects the whole big drama family. Last question for you. I often try to get this out of Michael Johnson and a few of them Wexford people down there, Paul Walsh and Pat Whelan, and I even chanced it a few times with Pat Connaughton. What's the secret to drama groups in Wexford? There's millions of you.
Do you know? I think there's a tradition of drama everywhere, but it's always been strong in Wexford. Like I think even my father actually would have done a bit of drama going way back. But there was every little village and parish, and even still there's like I think there's 7 open confined groups in Wexford now, and there's probably 3 or 4 confined. And like that's only a fraction of the groups that are out there. Like I think Wexford Drama, not Drama Festival, the Wexford Opera Festival has definitely contributed, because there's just so much live kind of performances, and like there's musicals. I think every town has a musical society. Every town has, I don't know, many different drama groups. Like there's youth theatre. But I think what I know it's so strong in Wexford is because there are so many groups, it has brought our standards up so much, and I think like that's why I think it's been so successful here. But there is a huge interest in drama, and even like festival. Like when you think of the number of festivals even in the county, and the local groups, a lot of them you still have to go outside to actually even get into festivals. There's just so much of it. But I think it goes way back. I think like the Hilton Edwards and all, they used to perform even in Scorty. And then you had the old Theatre Royal, and they had, you know, it's just amazing, and doesn't seem to be dropping off any. There's more and more new groups, but there's an awful lot of youth theatre groups and everything in the county now. It's just I don't know what it is.
Which is extremely encouraging to see, you know.
Yeah.
To see. Well, Breda, thank you very much for coming on to Lockdown Conversations. It was a joy to have you on, and a joy to chat to you and get a little bit of feedback and info into Ballycogley players and your 2 times winning All Ireland. Stay safe to yourself and all the Ballycoggy players and all our drama friends out there. Folks, that was Breda Hayes. I'm Paddy Farley. This was Lockdown Conversations. Thank you very much. Next week we will have a writer, actor, director, Leitrim man, John McDwyer. So we look forward to that. All right, folks, good night and thank you.
Thank you very much.